Alright, so now that I am done reviewing all four movies, it's time to rank them, of course, from least favorite to most favorite. Keep in mind, I think these are all great. I like almost all of them equally, except for my number four. And I just like it a little more, no, just a little less than the other ones. The other ones I like a lot more. And the one I like the least is part three. And I know I'm in the minority here, because this one has like the second highest Rotten Tomato score. Everybody seems to love Part 3. It was Lee Winnell's directorial debut. It's the first one he made and directed himself. I mean, he wrote the other ones, but he also wrote and directed this one and went on to direct much better things like Upgrade. And a lot of people love his recent Invisible Man. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, but we're not here to talk about that. So, Insidious 3, it has some great things in it. I like the monster. I thought it's one of the spookiest ones of all the main monsters. It has the best jump scare in the whole franchise with the girl getting hit by the car, and there will be spoilers in this ranking. I would hope you know that, and I would hope you've seen all these if you're wanting to see what my ranking is. So, spoilers. But the girl getting hit by the car, holy shit, that took me by surprise. And I thought she was okay. I like that we get to explore Lin Shaye's character way more in this one. This is a prequel. It's an unnecessary prequel. We don't need to know all this stuff. It's just, I would much prefer a sequel to part two, a proper sequel to part two, where we see what the hell Lin Shaye saw at the end of the movie in the corner. We never get that answer, and that's a shame. It kind of ruins the ending of part two now, because when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, that scene. We'll never know what the hell that meant. So it just kind of taints part two. So that sucks. But yeah, it's an okay movie. Let's not waste any time. Let's just move on to my number three. Number three will be. I'm gonna shock people with this because it's not gonna be what you think. Insidious Chapter 2. This is one I saw in the theater back in 2013 with my girlfriend at the time, and I hadn't seen it since until I went to review it this time. And I basically went into it blind because the only thing I remembered was the twist. Because the twist is not original, it's Sleepaway Camp. It's just not original. We've been there, done that. So I didn't care for the twist. I didn't care for any of that backstory to that character. But it's another decent, pretty well directed James Wan movie, just like the first one. It's got some similar setups and scares. It's the same feel as all four of them. They all have the same like feel, not the same tone, because four is more funny than the rest. A lot of the things that I can say about this one, I can say about all of them because they're all very similar. The main things that I will say about this is I didn't care for the twist, didn't care for any of that. I like the look of the bride in black, but the twist I could do without. I like the third act where Patrick Wilson is basically turning into like Jack Torrance, and he's like hitting the door with the baseball bat, and he's trying to kill his own family. I thought all that was great. So moving on to my number two will be Insidious: The Last Key, the last chapter. And we all know that ain't true. I'm sure we'll get another one. I really liked this one because the humor was landing for me. It's four movies, and so of course they're going to start taking themselves less serious. So I was kind of expecting it, and it worked for me. The humor from Specs and Tucker was great. I was chuckling throughout, and then there was even some great tension in this movie. I liked the scare setups. They weren't predictable like they were in part three. There's quite a few of them in part three that are predictable. In this one, none of them were really predictable. Like you were waiting for them to happen, and they wouldn't. They'd be looking through a hole, and you were expecting somebody to pop up, and they wouldn't. So I really appreciated that, and I really liked Lin Shaye's performance in this one. I thought this was her best. And we get to know her character even more. And we see Arkin from the Collector in the collection. That's a plus. I like that. And I like some of the little twists in here with the whole the human guy. Usually I don't know his name. The bad guy. We got a human antagonist in this movie and a demon antagonist. So I really like that. Just to change things up a bit. It's not always a ghost, some demon. We got just a regular serial killer kidnapper on the loose as well. That gets over like halfway through the movie, but it was a nice change of pace, something I didn't see coming at all. So the fact that this movie surprised me like that is why it's also so high up. I don't get the hate for this movie. This one has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score. I don't get that at all. This movie has great scare sequences, great humor. Really love Specs and Hunter Tucker in this movie. So very underrated in the franchise. I would recommend seeing it again. If you hate it, watch it again with a new lens, my lens, and you'll like it more. Number 1, Process of Elimination. The first Insidious. I can't remember if I saw this one in the theater. Probably not, but I definitely saw it like the same year when it came out on DVD. And I remember this movie being pretty scary. And even as someone who's not usually scared of horror movies, this one actually does kind of creep you out. You know, even if you think you are immune to horror movies like me, there's moments in this movie where I'm like, yeah, if I was a kid, this would definitely be scary. Or if I was, the demographic that this movie is trying to scare, the younger teens that go to see these PG-13 horror movies. There's lots of cool scare sequences in this movie. I just feel like they show Darth Maul, the red demon guy, too much. That one scare behind Patrick Wilson was cool. Him in the room pointing at Dalton was a cool scene. You don't really see him that much. But then towards the third act, when the movie kind of shifts tones with, Specs and Tucker coming in and the whole gas mask seance, things get a little generic. And they start showing the demon guy too much. And I didn't care for it. He's crawling the walls. But other than that, yeah, I really dug this movie. I really was surprised how much I liked it when I went back to revisit it. And I enjoyed watching all 4 of these. These were all pretty fun. So that is my ranking of the Insidious franchise. What is your ranking? Put it in the comments below. And I will be starting my new franchise this Wednesday. What will it be? I don't know. But see you there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, hit this like button, show some support, share with all your friends, become a subscriber today also by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.